Welcome to the Mason Kelley Experiment. I am Mason Kelley, high school sports coordinator of the Seattle Times. I'm joined by Lake Washington baseball coach Derek Bingham. We're going to talk a little bit about high school baseball in the state, a little bit about Kinko baseball, his team, and just kind of take you through what to expect this season. First of all, Derek, talk a little bit about, sort of how things have come together for your team early in the year.
It's been unique for us this year. Moving down to 3A, we have a different schedule. So in the past, we've played through spring break, and so this year we're not playing league games in spring break. So it makes it, different for us in terms of preparation. We're actually taking the team down to Arizona next week. Guys are really excited about that, and I am too. Get some nicer,
warm weather.
Get some nicer weather. But so it's kind of had our setup be a little different. Usually we are, cramming everything in to get league play started. I mean, 4A play started this week. We don't start for another 2 weeks. So, we've been playing a lot of inter squads. We had the captains kind of pick teams and played a 5-game series against each other to try to keep the competitive juices flowing. But all in all, I've been really pleased. We have a lot of senior leadership this year. The majority of the team that's coming back from last year was a part of our playoff run last year. And really were the main contributors on that team, and it's nice to, have those guys coming back, and I don't have to teach as much to those guys because they kind of know what to expect from me and from our coaching staff. It's going to be interesting. I mean, look, I'm so used to knowing the 4A league so well, and not knowing the 3A league as well. It's going to take some time for us to get used to it. But I have really enjoyed, the ability to kind of, have a month to get my team ready as opposed to 2 weeks. And so far, I like what I've seen. We'll see. Tomorrow night's our first opportunity to play against somebody else, so we're excited about that.
And then, and also I noticed, over the last year or so, you've been really helpful for me with that Kinko blog. And talk a little bit about how you got that started and, what people can find there.
Sure, yeah. So I've always kind of enjoyed writing, and even on our own website, I've always kind of done our little recaps and stories. And I found that I was writing a lot about what was going on around the league on our own website, and I figured, this might be better served to be on a separate site, maybe on a blog or something. And so when I started up a couple years ago, I wasn't sure what to expect, and by the end of the year, it was getting a lot of traffic, and I think it kind of provides one place for Kinko baseball fans to go and figure out what's going on around the league. Sometimes information about high school baseball is hard to find, and high school football and basketball, those are kind of the main interest sports, and those are the ones that get the highest traffic. Those are the ones that have the most interest. But there is a niche of fans out there that are big baseball fans, big high school baseball fans, and I think that, the coverage that you guys give in combination with kind of what I do, provides another service, another place for those people to go and read about the league. It's something I enjoy doing. I've gotten some feedback that, a lot of the parents and kids kind of enjoy it too, and, it's something I plan on continuing as long as I'm coach here, and really appreciate you promoting it, and I think we kind of help each other out in terms of getting the word out about high school baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know that I use that site a lot, just as far as it is so hard to find information. Now, kind of switching gears a little bit, here on the split screen, you can see Dylan Davis for Redmond throwing against Eastlake earlier this week, and just talk a little bit about, since you're so familiar with both 4A and now 3A, talk a little bit about what you expect to see in the Kinko this year.
Well, Kinko's loaded as always, and I think that Redmond, everybody's kind of seen this year coming for a couple of years. When the guys like Dylan and Michael Conforto and Zach Eberze, those guys have, when they were sophomores, they were impact players.
Yeah.
And it was kind of that trio that you're like, oh man, when they're seniors, they're going to blow up, and evidenced by their start. Mm-hmm. I think that they're kind of in that mix in terms of teams to beat. Newport as well. They have as much pitching depth as anybody. Mm-hmm. Got, 2 D1 guys at the front of their rotation, and possibly another one in Salinger that's a junior. Mm-hmm. We'll see what comes in terms for him. But I think that those two teams, in my mind, are probably the two at the head of the pack in Kinko 4A right now. And I would be shocked if everybody in that league didn't have 2 or 3 losses.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just those teams beat up on each other. You get to that 3rd game of the week, you might not have your best arm on the mound. And rain plays a huge factor. Rain just
exactly.
plays a huge factor here, and that's where pitching depth comes into play when you got to play 4 or 5 games in a week because of rainouts. A lot of times, you might not have the best number 1 in the league, but if you have good 2, 3, 4 guys, mm-hmm. you can catch up at the end of the week, and you can kind of make hay in the standings based on how you play in those games. So, in the 3A, new to it, haven't really followed it as much. But I have, gone out to a couple games, seen a couple really good teams play. Mount Si is impressive. And, them and Mercer Island and Liberty were co-champs last year in the 3A. So we know that they're quality teams. We know that they're, probably going to be at the top of the pack again this year. I know Liberty graduated a lot of seniors from last year, but I'm sure they're going to reload. Mount Si, had a rough first game, but man, they've bounced back like something fierce. They've been beating up some teams. Yeah, they've been scoring a lot of runs, and Mercer Island is steady. They lost their MVP last year, but they bring almost everybody else back from a championship team, a team that was one game away from going to Safeco. So, and then you've got teams like Bellevue that are up and coming. They're pretty young, and Interlake and Juanita, they have new coaches, and those guys are going to play hard for their new coach. And I think we have a chance to be pretty good too. It'll be interesting to see once we get out against other teams how we fare. But like I said earlier, I like the makeup of our team. Our seniors are leaders, and they're kind of leading the way in terms of bringing everybody else along with them. We have playoff experience in terms of winning big games with this group, and the experience down in Arizona we're going to get next week playing against some teams that have been playing for a while, as opposed to us who are going to have one game under our belts. That'll be good for us too. But I'm confident that playing Redmond tomorrow night and then going down and playing a tough schedule in Arizona is going to get us ready, to compete in the 3A as well. So we'll see how it all shakes out.
And then kind of switching gears, going to more of a.
That say, hey, I can throw this guy out there and beat anybody. So.
And then, it seems like that there really is the case. I mean, you look at Shorewood last year with Blake Snell and Kevin Moriarty. They got those two arms, and they were really able to kind of go out and take control of things. And I think that is very true. That your best pitchers, if you've got a team that's got a Dylan Davis and a Zach Aberze, those are the teams that you expect to have playoff success. And at the same time, it can be so unpredictable because anything can happen. And then, obviously, the goal at the end of the year is to be celebrating like Kentwood did last year, and also kind of be celebrating like O'Day did, winning back-to-back. And I think that was what was so impressive last year, was to see O'Day go back-to-back in 3A. And to be honest, they always seem to peak at the end of the year. I know they've struggled a little bit early in the year, but how tough is it to win a state title?
It's very tough, and O'Day is a perfect example of what we just talked about. Right, O'Day was in a situation they were playing for their lives against Sammamish in the Kinko Metro feeder, or in that district game. The loser goes home, and then 2 weeks later they find themselves holding the trophy at Safeco. And so it's about who gets hot at the right time. And I think that winning a state championship is so difficult. I mean, I wish I could tell you how to do it. We haven't done it yet. Hopefully soon. But we've been close. I mean, I think our team 2 years ago was as good as anybody in the state. And we ran into a good Puyallup team that got up on us early and took us out one game away from Safeco. I'll never forget the Jackson team with Snyder and those guys. We played them twice that year. They were 26-0, and we lost to them 5-3 in state. Right, we played them in the first round, and then they turned around and beat a team 26-0 in the next game. It's all about matchups. It's all about that one day. Who's going to be the better team on that one day? Who's got the better arm on the mound? And just like any other loser-out situation, it's like you don't really have an opportunity in the playoffs to have a bad day, because if you do, you're going home. And the team that has 4 best days is going to win the tournament, just like in college basketball.
And I think that's kind of the thing that makes high school baseball so fun, is that kind of unpredictable nature of the whole thing when you get down to it. I mean, I think you saw it a little bit in high school basketball this year, where all the top, a lot of the teams that were predicted to win it all didn't quite get there. But in baseball, I mean, it's one of those things that records mean nothing, rankings mean nothing. As soon as you get to the playoffs, it's whoever's playing better baseball for that week.
Absolutely. It's just pitching and defense when it gets down to it. At the end, who's going to defend, and who's going to pitch, and who's going to get that timely hit. And that's why baseball is so unpredictable. I mean, at all levels. If you look at the major leagues, the best teams in the league lose 60 games a year. The best teams in the state, rarely you're going to see a team on the table. I mean, like I said earlier, I would be shocked if the best teams in Kinko didn't lose 2 or 3 games just based on the depth of that league. And you've got to bring it every day. And when it's playoff time, it's who's going to bring it for those 4 games, and that's going to be who holds the trophy at the end.
All right. Well, I think that just about does it here. We're at Lake Washington High School, and this is the first time we've kind of taken the Mason Kelley experiment on location. I think it worked out well. We'll do more of this throughout the year. Try to incorporate some of the other sports, soccer, track and field. Get out there and really kind of show everybody what's going on, and kind of get some other people on camera. And I think it's kind of been a fun thing to get the kids involved, and to get coaches involved, and just kind of take a different look at high school sports. So Derek, thanks for coming on, and
appreciate it.
Until next week, I'll probably have another one of these, and so until then, see ya. Thanks.